Hey Heidi, hello. How are ya? Happy day to ya. I'm here as usual just to do a quick body check in with myself, let go of some stress, shake off some cares, and as always, I invite you to join me if you feel like it, to whatever degree feels good in your body. I'm going to move this table just a little bit. Fingers crossed that my guest does not come home while I'm stretching and need the table for anything. I bet we're going to be all right. It's going to be all right. That's my philosophy, my belief, and my story that I'm sticking to. Start with just a couple of deep breaths and sighs and bringing my attention into the bottoms of my feet. Thank you for the love. I appreciate it. Just give a little full body shaking things off. Got a lot of stagnation trying to accumulate, so it's important to shake it off, stretch it out, bounce it out. I'm a little overdue for some bouncing. I think I'm going to add that to my schedule later. But for now, let's start with a little rolling down. Just check in with the spine. Nice and slow. Coming down past the waist to the hips. I see I brought some tree seeds in with me. I'm going to just hang here for a breath or so. Giving a sigh. Let's do just a little twisting over to the left. A little twisting over to the right. I'm going to bend the knees, swing the arms around, and come into a counter stretch. Lifting the eyes, lifting the chest, pushing the hips forward a little bit. Coming back to neutral. Shake that out. Let's see if I can get this lighting to be any better. We'll see. It's better or worse. Might be better. Might be worse. You never can tell with lighting till you know. You don't know till you know, do you? Let's try another forward fold, this time with a relatively flat back. Swan diving down. Still making sure not to lock up in the knees. I'm just hanging here again. Shaking it out again. Letting gravity do some unwinding. I'm going to come up from the waist now, pulling up in the pelvic floor, back in the abdomen. Left elbow over right to start. Pulling these shoulder blades apart with my hands and giving a nice little massaging squeeze to the shoulders, which feels good. Rounding the spine, tucking the chin, and then releasing all that again from the hips. Letting go of the head and neck, letting go of the belly, just hanging here off the hips. And then I'm going to pull up one more time from the waist, this time right elbow over left. Again, giving myself a nice hug, squeeze. Noticing the ka-chunks in there. Tucking the chin, rounding the spine, pulling up in the abdomen, up in the pelvic floor, back in the abdomen. And just really getting into that stretch, pulling the shoulders a little bit. Got a lot of chunks in there, so it feels good to kind of wiggle that around. And then one more time, releasing all that from the hips. Releasing the head and neck. Let's roll up nice and slow, stacking one vertebra on the next. Still just checking in with the whole body. I'm going to swing these arms around again, lifting the chest and the eyes. Pushing the hips forward a little bit, just enjoying a little counter stretch. And then coming back to neutral. Shake that off. I'm going to bring hands behind the back, clasping hands and rolling the shoulder blades together, rolling elbows together, pressing palms. I like to extend a couple fingers and then lead with those fingers, increasing that counter stretch. Protecting the neck here with the shoulders a little bit, so you can just lean the head back if that's comfortable. again, making sure not to lock those knees. With a relatively flat back, this time bringing the arms with me. Got a lot of numbness and stiffness and nerve issues going on in my arms these days. It's flared up, so I'm going to spend a little extra time just stretching out those shoulders and neck. Drawing out my triceratops line here. This is an active stretch, so I'm using the muscles to stretch the muscles as opposed to a passive stretch where I'm going to leave my hands clasped and just let the elbows fall away and let gravity do the stretching, relaxing the muscles. That's a passive stretch. I'm going to be making a little mini course on active and passive stretching, how to increase your flexibility by alternating between the two, and we'll run through a little of that now. Again, actively pulling the shoulder blades together, pulling the elbows towards each other, pressing palms, and using the muscles to stretch themselves and each other. Exploring this range of motion here. I'm going to explore a little side to side from on the left and on the right. Call this my triceratops ridges. For some reason, that's what it makes me feel like, a big triceratops. And then passively stretching now, just leaving the hands clasped gently to keep them together, but letting the elbows fall away, letting the muscles relax, letting gravity do that unwinding. And then one more time, actively pulling the shoulder blades together, pulling the elbows together, pressing palms, and actively using muscles to stretch muscles through the chest, through the shoulders, just exploring that range of motion there. Again, let's go a little to the left, looking up over the right shoulder, and over to the right, looking up over that left shoulder. Can add to that stretch by bending the left knee, touching left shoulder to left knee, and then over to the other side, touching right shoulder to right knee, and then coming back to center, stretching that out actively, and then turn that into a passive stretch again, just relaxing the muscles, letting gravity do some unwinding, letting the elbows fall away from each other, just keeping hands gently clasped. I'm going to bend the elbows now, bring the hands back to check in with the low back, and just give everybody a little love back here. Check in with all those clumpy lumps in the low back. Check in with the glutes or the buttocks. Check in with the hamstring attachments and the hamstrings. And come down the back of the legs while relaxing the belly, really getting into that forward fold. Checking in with the backs of the knees and the backs of the calves. Giving those ankles a squeeze. Coming around the front to press on the toes. Hey toes, how you doing? I'm going to roll up slowly as I check in with the front of the body. Ankles, shins, kneecaps rolling up still. Checking in with the thighs, checking in with the hip sockets, stacking each vertebrae on the next. Let's come around and check in with the whole waist and torso and chest and shoulders, and then smoothing down the arms, just bringing the whole body together, dislodging stagnant energy, getting the flow going. Shake that out. I'm going to do some slow clap snaps. I have to just slow them way down because my hands are still swollen and dysfunctional. Maybe one day that will change. Rub the palms together and just smooth up the face and down the back of the head. Shaking that off. Gathering up stresses and cares, and then just letting them go. There'll be more stresses and cares, not to worry. One more time, just smoothing up the face, over the head, gathering up stresses and letting them go, shaking them off. I'm going to step back with the left foot. Thank you for the love. Coming into a moderate lunge. Lighting is still not cooperating with me, is it? That's too bright in my face. So I'm gonna adjust. Stepping back with the left foot, pulling that back hip forward, forward hip back, tipping the tailbone under, pressing into that back heel and checking that the front knee is not crunching past the front toes. Bringing the arms up overhead, making sure not to crunch up in those shoulders. Just enjoying a nice strong warrior pose for a breath or two. I'm going to bring these hands down in front, still working to drop and roll back those shoulders. And I'm going to alternate sharp focus on my fingertips and then soft eyes, gazing past my fingertips, noticing my peripheral view and imagining that I'm gazing all the way around the world to see the back of my own head. Still making sure not to crunch up in those shoulders. And then I'm going to bring my eyes to a sharp focus on my fingertips. And just noticing how that changes in the brain. Again, gazing out past the imaginary horizon, all the way around my heart to see the back of my own head. One more time, sharp focus on the tips of my fingers. And then I'm going to follow this fingertip as I shift on that back heel, opening the hips down, coming into the side plane, swinging this knee out, opening this hip this way. I'm going to slide that back heel out a little bit more, come into a side twisting triangle, using my right arm and leg against each other for torque and support, and gazing out past that left arm, past the fingertips. I'm going to increase that twist by bringing this hand around the back side. Reach for this opposite thigh here, giving all those organs a nice squeeze, a wringing out, or hello. How you doing? Everybody's doing all right in there, I think. Relatively well. It's all relative. It's all about the relative proportionality of one thing to another, I like to say. I'm going to bring this hand back around front and shifting onto that back toe. Bring weight onto both hands. And then I'm going to bring this front foot back to meet the back foot, pressing through the palms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head, and pressing into those heels. Pressing the heart toward the earth. Still trying to relax through the belly, tipping the tailbone. Tread those heels a little bit, bending the right knee and pressing into the left, and bending the left knee, pressing into the right, and again pressing into the left, and into the right. One more time, to the left, and to the right, then back into both heels. And then I'm going to swing the body forward, lifting the chest through the shoulders, sliding those feet back a little bit, keeping the legs together, lifting the chest and eyes, letting the belly just drop and relax, trying to get a nice stretch through the front of the body while protecting the low back with the buttocks together. You can add a little tongue stretch here if you feel inclined. It helps to make a funny noise, I find. I'm in favor of funny noises, in case you didn't know. I'm going to push back again into those hips, lifting the hips, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head, pressing into those heels. I'm going to swing this left foot forward in between the hands. Enjoy a nice deep bouncing lunge here with hands on either side of the foot. And then stepping forward with that back foot. Coming again into a forward fold. Just letting the belly relax, letting the back relax, letting the head and neck relax, shoulders relax. And then we're going to bend the knees, swing the arms back, coming back into that counter stretch, pushing the hips forward, lifting the chest and eyes, gazing past those fingertips. Coming back to neutral, shake all that out. And then I'm going to step back with the right foot into a moderate lunge again. Trying to work with the lighting. We'll just keep working with what we got from where we are. Pulling this back hip forward, forward hip back, tipping the tailbone under, pressing into that back heel. And lifting the arms, making sure not to crunch up in those shoulders. I'm going to bring these hands down again, making sure to keep the shoulders dropped and back. And sharp focus on those fingertips. And then soft eyes gazing out past the imaginary horizon, noticing my peripheral view and wrapping my vision all the way around the earth and my heart to see the back of my own head. And then sharp focus again on the fingertips. Don't forget to breathe and smile if you're into that sort of thing. And then soft eyes gazing out past the horizon. See the back of my own head. And one more time, sharp focus on my fingertips. Then I'm going to shift this back heel onto the perpendicular line, opening the hips, following this finger hand with my eyes, checking out the side plane here. I'm swinging this knee open and this hip open. Get a nice open hip sensation here on the side plane. And then sliding that back foot out a little bit more, bending from the hip. I bring that left hand down on the inside of the left leg and lifting the right arm, gazing past those fingertips for a nice side twisting triangle aeroplane pose, as I like to call it. And increasing that twist a little, I'm going to bring this hand around to reach for this opposite thigh, giving all those organs a nice twist and wringing out in the other direction. Saying hello to everybody, letting them say hello back to me. Just enjoying that long diagonal line for a breath or so. Then I'm going to unwind that, shift onto that back toe and bring both hands on the inside of this left leg for a nice deep bouncing lunge. Trying to get somewhere where you can see me. The lighting is not cooperating. Bringing weight onto both hands now, bringing that front foot back to meet the back foot. Pressing through the palms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head, pressing into the heels. Like to give a nice sigh there, and then I'm going to swing the body forward again, lifting the chest through the shoulders, sliding the feet back, keeping the feet and legs together, and letting the belly just drop. Relaxing the front of the body. Actively stretching the tongue a little bit. Just really letting the belly drop. Lifting the chest, lifting the shoulders, lifting the eyes. And then I'm going to lift the hips, pressing back again through the palms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head, pressing into these heels. Now I'm going to swing this right foot forward in between the hands for a nice deep lunge. Again, I like to give a little bounce there. You bounce if you like to bounce, or don't bounce if you don't like to bounce. That's my rule, or guideline. Not big on rules, but I do favor guidelines. I'm going to step back up with the back foot into a forward fold and just hang here again. Letting the head and neck go, letting the shoulders go. Let's give a nice gentle twist again, this time raising the left arm, using my right arm on my left foot for torque. And then back to center, using both hands on both legs to help pull the body forward, draping down into a forward fold, really trying to relax the belly and just make the upper body nice and long, folding from the hips. Now let's come over to the right, using left hand on right foot, and lifting that right arm, gazing past those fingertips. Enjoying a nice twist on this side. And then coming back to center again, using both hands on both legs. Pull into that forward fold, and then I'm going to roll back up. Just checking in with the spine again, seeing where it's supple, where it's sticky. Shake that out a little bit. I'm going to step into a straddle, do a little bit more hip dipping. So dipping on the right, lifting the left hip, dipping on the left, lifting the right, and again, dipping on the right, better stretch. Dipping on the right, dipping on the left. Got all kind of stiffness going on today. It's good to just stretch it out, wring it out, let some of it dissipate. Remind me to drink plenty of water today. It's dry here in New Mexico. I was up in Colorado last week in the snow, and it's just notable how much drier it is down here. I'm going to walk these feet back together under the hips, and I'm going to push into each hip, taking weight off the right, pushing into this left hip a little bit, just bringing that stretch up into the hip socket. Even kind of shift that around a little bit, and taking weight off the left, pushing into the right. Do be mindful, these ball and socket joints can dislocate, so you want to, that's why I like to keep them stretched out, but you also want to keep them strong, and you want to listen to your own body and get familiar with your own range of motion so that you don't hurt yourself, because that is not the goal. The goal is to keep yourself healthy and happy and well and functioning, and to continue developing a loving, compassionate, communicative relationship with your own body. At least that's what I'm doing. Pushing again into the right and just exploring that hip socket a little bit, range of motion. And one more time, taking weight off the right, pushing into the left, getting a nice stretch in that whole butt and hip region here. One more time over to the left, pushing out into that hip socket. Again, mindfully, compassionately, not forcing anything, just exploring that. I'm going to root both feet again under my hip bones and now slide, keeping weight on both feet. There's a temptation to lift the side you're sliding away from, but the stretch is much better if you keep both feet rooted. As you slide the hips relatively parallel to the floor now, over to the left. For me, that brings a stretch up into the torso and over to the right. One more time, over to the left. Got some painful hitches in that giddy up over there, and over to the right. Back to neutral, shake all that out. Let's do just a little more arm stretching, bringing the left arm across the body. I can come up a little closer, using the right arm to control that stretch and just pulling that across the body. Then I'm going to drop that shoulder, tilt the head away from the shoulder a little bit. If I can, getting a little release through the neck. It's feeling pretty stiff today. Just going to explore that a little bit. Let that go. And bring the right arm across the body, using the left hand to increase that stretch and trying to relax the right arm. Drop that shoulder a little bit, and then tilt the head away from that shoulder. Just explore that stretch a little bit. It's pretty stiff in there. I might have to give that some special attention here shortly. We'll let that go. I'm going to add just a little extra neck stretch. Let's start with just chin toward chest gently, so I'm not wrenching on the neck, just using the hands to add just a little extra controlled weight to encourage that stretch on the back of the neck. And then I'm going to come up again, just using the hands to very gently encourage a little extra stretch, pushing just gently under the chin. Letting the neck unwind back there. And one more time forward. Using again the hands just for a little extra weight. No wrenching. And one more time up and back. Coming back to neutral. I'm going to use again the hand for just a little extra weight, coming over to the right. And then I'm going to alternate chin toward shoulder, ear toward shoulder. I'm going to actually just use the hand this time to just smooth and remind that side of the neck to feel long and let go. Just exploring that a little bit. And then coming back to center. Shake that out. And tipping to the left. Using the hand just gently for a little extra weight. Using this hand to encourage some smoothing, some elongating, and alternating chin towards shoulder, ear towards shoulder. Just noticing how the two sides are different, how they vary day to day, where there's stiffness, where there's suppleness, shaking it out a little bit. There's lots of stiffness today and not so much suppleness, but that's okay. I love myself anyway. I hope you remember and I love you because you are worth it. Let's do just a quick balancing. I'm going to bring weight onto the right. Bring this left knee up toward left shoulder. Relaxing the shoulders. Try not to fall over. Relaxing that supporting foot. Let's add a little ankle rotation for good measure. One way and then the other way. And then still working to tip that tailbone under a little bit for a nice long and strong line through the center of the body. I'm going to enjoy a nice pull on the shoulders and arms with the foot, and then pulling that back and stretching this foot out forward as much as possible. That's my timer. Hold on. Let's set that down and restart that. So I don't forget my watering. Bring weight onto the left. Bring this right knee up toward right shoulder. Again, relaxing the shoulders, tipping the tailbone under. Let's give a little ankle rotation to this side. One way, then the other way. Just checking in with the body. I'm going to reach for the bottom of this foot, and again, just enjoy a little pulling stretch through the backs of the shoulders and arms with the weight of that foot, and then pulling that back, tipping the tailbone under, relaxing that supporting foot, and stretching that leg out as much as is comfortable forward. I guess to match what I did on the other side, I'm going to keep that nice and short, bending the leg, and then setting that back down. Let's stomp that out. Breathing in, lifting up, raising the chest, and then just letting that air fall out of the lungs. Let's do that a couple more times. Thank you for the love. Breathing in, filling the lungs, lifting the eyes, and then just letting that go, shaking it off. One more time. Breathing in. I like to get the knees involved. Expanding the lungs, pulling down with the diaphragm, pushing out, filling with air, holding up top a little bit, and then nice exhale. If you can, spend an extra second or two at the bottom of that exhale, squeezing all the air out of your lungs. Yep, breathing is more important than you may think. If you remember nothing else today, remember, breathe with your mouth closed. That's my favorite tip of the month. Close your mouth when you breathe. Maybe close your mouth when you talk. So far we have not mastered that, but yeah, we'll keep working on it. I'm still silly, in case you were worried. No need to worry. Michael, it's great to see you. Hope you're remembering to take care of you. I wish you a fantastic day. Thank you for stopping by. Remember to love yourself, because you are worthy of your own unconditional love. Don't forget to play today. I'll be seeing you. Ciao.